from the previous general elections, and we will not reinvent the wheel. In line with our mandate, we have undertaken a number of activities in order to get ourselves adequately prepared for the June 24th, 2023 elections. I feel delighted to outline the following. We have reactivated the Integrated Election Security Planning Committee, the IESBC, to ensure a focused coordination of the efforts of elections management bodies, EMBs, support security sector planning and actions through development of appropriate strategies, and mobilize requisite funding support for the security sector to cover the elections. About 1.5 years ago, we conducted a national threat assessment, district risk mapping, leading to a development of 3 strategic documents pertinent to the effective and efficient management of elections. These include elections security strategy, elections communication strategy, and elections training manual, all of which are now being implemented. In respect of the elections training manual in particular, which deals with election security, ethical issues such as professionalism, impartiality, adherence to the rule of law, human rights principles, etc. For senior security personnel, a training of trainers, COTs, roundtables were held all over the country. This in turn were replicated to hundreds of junior security personnel that are participating in the elections. We have also reactivated the National Situation Room, NSR, to support the security sector early warning and early response mechanism relating to the election process and related national security issues. The NSR, National Situation Room, has a toll-free line of 119 accessible by all mobile networks in the country, and the public can call this number to report any election security related concerns. The toll-free line, I repeat again, is 119 on all mobile networks. The National Joint Operations Center, NJOC, the Incident Command Center, ICCs, and the Forward Control Points, FCPs, have all been reactivated to plan, coordinate, and execute election security operations both at national and regional levels of the country. We recognize that election is a civil process, and so it is not our plan to over-securitize it. As a result, security for elections will be predominantly provided by the SLP, supported by other auxiliary forces. However, the SLP is supporting the SLP under the military aid to civil power, must be policed by acts of disobedience to the laws of the land and state institutions, wanton violence, drug peddling, abuse, and other forms of criminality.
Again, we have been able to establish incident command centers as well as forward control points, both at regional level and at district level. And of course, you have heard from the NS Corps about the establishment of the National Joint Operations Center, NJOC. It is all geared towards collaborating, coordinating, and cooperating with each other, so that we'll be mapping out events as they unfold by also indicating actions taken. We have also designed a manual that we refer to as the rules of engagement. It's very key, and each and every soldier has a pocket guide of the rules of engagement, which is germane to the very survivability of our institution. I also want to assure all of you that I have a conviction that this election is going to be free and fair, and therefore we should all put hands on deck to ensure that at the end of the day, one perspective to judge all of us for our numerous contributions. We have gone countrywide to address our soldiers to ensure that they remain apolitical, remain professional, and remain neutral in the discharge of their duty. So over and above all, On behalf of the CDS, I want to thank you very much and also assure you that we are at your beck and call to ensure that we provide a conducive environment that we all deserve for an electoral process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So having heard from the National Security Coordinator, the Inspector General of Police, and the Commander at Joint Force, I guess we've now debriefed on the level of preparedness of the security sector and our posture for the pending general elections. Added to that, the security sector has already also provided a pocket guide on election security, which we have made available to all of our security personnel to provide security at polling centers and stations, as the case might be. It's a testament to our level of preparedness. Now we are going to have questions, but there are golden rules. The question must be precise, short, and germane to the issues that are to be discussed here or that have already been briefed on. We don't want you to go outside of the scope to begin to go into preambles and so many things that are not relevant to the presentations and statements that have been made. And you are limited to one question, and I'm sure we are also limited to the number of questions that we are going to take. The floor is now open. You state your name, your press house, and then your comment.
Before we start, we are taking just 4 questions from the press. Just 4 questions. Yes.
In total. My name is Samura Kamara. I'm the station manager for Star Television. The question is directly directed to the Commander Joint Force. Major General, I'm pretty much keen to know what the security sector as a whole intends to effectively engage ex-servicemen, who most times we are utilized rather unresourcefully. I don't have any specific examples, sir. One, getting a comprehensive data on their number, and how do you help in making or strengthening the ex-servicemen association that will dissuade them from any further engagements that will undermine state security?
Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan Sona, reporting from the Silent Broadcasting Corporation. Just a quick one. The last election in 2018, there was a saga between the police and citizens, where citizens were not allowed to use their vehicles to apply the routes or the streets of freedom. Are we going to see this particular election in 2023 where citizens are having the leeway to use their vehicles on election day?
I'm Raymond Nalo from the Visual Media newspaper. My question here is, I'm looking at the ONS presentation by identifying spot areas. What are the yardsticks do you use in order to identify these areas? Because as I'm standing here, I live in the East End. Most of those guys are from far and out-reach communities in the East End, and they come down along the streets, to create mayhem.
I'm Dauda Oman, editor of the Post. Yes, sir, I want to know actually the deployments, if there is going to be a number of deployments, because I want to go to the police station as a paternals of security, then I went back. So let me know the deployments. Whether RSL, SP, the Answer will send for police for whatever, I want to know the deployments. Thank you very much.
All right, I think we have four questions already. Yes. Maybe we will start with answers.
It's questions.
Okay, is the fourth one?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon. I am Agnieszka Webster Radio. I just want to ask about the safety of the journalists when it comes to elections, because most of these challenges come between the Israeli police and the media. How are we protected when it comes to election after elections?
All right, let's start with the first one. That's the engaging the ex-servicemen. The CDS will attempt to answer that question. Also, members of the military who are here will also maybe support the Joint Force Command and answer that question. Yes.
Thank you very much, my brother from the other end. You know, the issue of ex-servicemen is very important, and the Ministry of Defense over time has been working assiduously to ensure that we have a very corporate body. When we talk about ex-servicemen, these are people that have diligently served the nation, that have gone on retirement. So they are always held in a very high esteem for the contributions they've made during their tenure as servicemen. Indeed, we have been getting some challenges with regards to harnessing their potentials by bringing them on board. And that is why the current Minister of Defense, who is also one of them, was very passionate to ensure that we have a formidable group of people that have served. We actually sent out a calling notice to all the respective regions across the country to see how we can mobilize them. As I'm speaking, over 975 have registered, and the registration was done at the Benguima, which is the Armed Forces Training Center, and there are a lot of plans on the way, you know, to ensure that we actually engage them. I agree, there are a lot of disconnects along the line, but then I want to assure you that the Ministry of Defense is working overtime to ensure that we have our ex-servicemen up and running. Of course, we have been actually receiving some support. Like there was a program from UK that sent in some support for the ex-servicemen. But we are yet to actually conclude on the aspect of bringing all of them on board. We still have some that have not been registered. We still have some that are in areas that are inaccessible at the moment. But we are not relenting. We know what that means, because all of us in the coming years are going to retire as well. So if we don't make the ex-servicemen to be functional, then of course I also find myself one day in that kind of situation. So that is why we are working assiduously to ensure we have the ex-servicemen up and running. We are very much aware of their existence, and we know the role they play, and that is why we want to uphold the values that all of us have fought for over the period. Thank you.
Okay, having said that, we'll move to the General Police for the book movement during election day.
Yes, we are very correct. In 2018, there was a ban on the movement of vehicles on polling day. That one was challenged in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court overturned that ban. So we don't see it coming into play this time, and otherwise we'll be going against the orders of the court. But in any case, we are going to be allowed to move around with your vehicles. The only caution is that you move around with your vehicle for the right purpose. We cannot tolerate you moving around with thugs, people who have plans to go and disturb voting processes or counting processes. And we have intelligence pillars all across. We will be keeping an eye on the movement of people. So if you are determined, or if it's your intention to use your people to carry the wrong people in the people, we are going to confront it, and we are going to stop that particular movement. So there's not going to be any ban on movement of people. Of course, the Electoral Commission is going to accredit some people to have the authority, especially party officials. But there will be no restriction. Everybody will be free to move, because we've said this one is going to be very free and fair election. But make sure you move your people for the right purpose, and nothing more than that.
Thank you. Thank you, IG. We'll move to the hotspots. Somebody asked a question about how did we, the ONS, get to know about the assessment about the hotspot areas, because there are boys coming from up the hill to come down. Francis Kylie, who is in charge of elections, will be able to answer that question. Where's the mic?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kenneth. Yeah, thank you very much for your question. We did, at the NS Code we did a very comprehensive national election threat assessment, which we commenced in November 2022, and then we finished it at around April 2023, so to speak. Basically, the thrust of that assessment was to identify the threats that are related to the 2023 general elections. And it was quite in-depth in terms of scope and the undertakings that we did. We covered all the 16 electoral districts of Sierra Leone, all the 16 electoral districts. And through a wide range of consultations, focus group discussions, administration of questionnaires, and then of course having discussions with relevant stakeholders across the board, we were able to elicit the required information that we wanted. And we are able to look at the threats that are generic, that run through all the 16 districts, and the threats that are specific to specific districts. And we are also able to identify about 8 districts which were identified as hotspots. And the parameters we use based on those discussions we had, we look at if you have areas that were prone to political violence. You know, there have been by-elections post-2018, series of by-elections. And all of those by-elections, save for one, we are actually prone to high levels of political violence. So areas that are prone to political violence, especially at inter-party level, we are considered as hotspots. The second parameter was areas that you had very high concentration of cliques and gangs. Cliques and gangs, we had very high concentration of them, accordingly identified as a potential hotspot area. Areas also where you have some level of concentration of ex-combatants. Yeah, you have some level of concentration of ex-combatants, like the western rural areas, the case may be. Areas also that you consider as swing districts. Swing districts where no political party really had dominion in terms of leverage. Where you call split districts, that they can swing in any way. Anytime these political parties meet in these districts, because of the proportionate number of followings that they have, there's a tendency for violence to occur. So those are some of the parameters that we use. And also, other parameters, areas that are prone to very high levels of drug abuse and other substance abuses that are frequented with ghettos. They have very high concentration of ghettos. You know, these are areas where youth congregate, especially in the midst of this level of unemployment that you can understand. So those are the parameters that we use to determine areas that we consider as hotspots. And some of the districts where we found these incidences to be occurring, and where we identified as hotspots, the western area, especially western rural, western urban of course, or western rural is more prone, and western urban. So Kolili, notice that some parts of Moyamba was divided going towards the Brand 4 area. Mutoko was also identified. And of course, Mutoko was identified, Karina was also identified as another hotspot area. So these are some of the parameters, and these are some of the districts that we were able to identify during our consultation. Thank you.
All right. The VG CISA, Mr. Bonaevis, will support him to.
Thank you very much, Ernest. I think I just want to add one or two things to what he has said, based on the parameters, and to say that security is evolving. So even when the ISPC have done their assessments and hotspots have been identified before, hotspots may come up again, because it depends on the intelligence, what the intelligence picture shows. Because you may have identified 50 hotspots, but as a result of the unfolding events, new hotspots may come up. So those are also issues that the intelligence parameters will come up to add to the hotspots that have already been identified. So that's just what I wanted to add.
Okay. In short, he's just telling you that our threats register is not sacrosanct. It's always updated. Threats occur as you go along. Like you were talking about the hills. That's why we learned that from the August 8, 9, 10, that we have people there who are also creating problems. All right. The other question, deployment of troops, he was asking about the number of troops. Of course, I would already send it to anybody to answer. The only thing I will assure you that we are going to deploy troops that will secure everybody for this election. But we are not going to tell you the number of personnel we are going to deploy out. All right? We move to the protection of journalists. Ramaja?
Yes.
Protection of journalists.
Yes.
You want to assure us? That's the AID Ops.
Yes. In fact, they are my colleagues. They are my colleagues. I happen to be one of the first police officers when the Commonwealth Task Force team was in this country. During restructuring, I was one of the first police officers that were trained in journalism. And that is why you find out that we are very open to you. Before that, they were guessing as what actually was happening in police stations. And so we said, oh, let's call them, we sit, we explain to them if we are investigating. We let them understand what the police is doing. If there are areas because of the fact that they are disclosing to stop the investigation, we'll let them know that. But we'll stop them guessing. And that is why every now and then we call you. So you are safe. But as we always say, be law abiding. It is the law that is above all of us. As long as you are respecting law and order, you are not there to disturb the peace of this country and the process, because election is a process. You are assured of your safety and security. As all of my senior bosses have said, we are providing the safety and security for every individual in this country. And so you are assured of that. But the only thing is that, please be law abiding and be ready to maintain the peace we have. Thank you.
All right, I think we'll go one more round. 4 questions. The last one. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My name is Samura Kamara, editorial assistant to Texas. On June 14th, that's 2 days ago, the presidential candidate of the People's Congress Party, Dr. Samura Kamara, gave 72 hours ultimatum to the ECSS commissioner and all other commissioners there to step aside. We are not sure what will happen if they fail or refuse to step aside. But you did not say anything about that. I'm sure you have to say something about that. I'm not. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Samura Kamara. I represent Alabaster newspaper. My concern is with regard mobility. Now, I understand that over deployment of security forces at the various police stations might scare people from voting. So, but I want to know, in the event that a crisis happens in any one of these police stations, how fast and how soon can the police deploy additional police officers to those places?
That's all. Anybody else? Okay, maybe if that is all, then we will just end up by responding to the first question. As a security sector, we have assured you of protecting lives and property. Statements, rhetorics, invectives from politicians, that's their own business. As far as we are concerned, as a sector, we are going to make sure, and we are now assuring you that we will make sure nobody keeps Sierra Leone ungovernable. We are here to protect lives and property. So whether it's 72, whether it's 110 hours, whether it's 200 hours, whether it's 5 hours, as far as we are concerned, Sierra Leone is going to be safe. We are going to make sure we provide security for everybody. And if people are agreed, there's a due process of the law. You go to the law. That's why we have the judiciary. But other than that, if you don't go to the law, you take the law into your hands, then the security forces will fall on you heavily. The last question, you talk about the troop deployment, police deployment in police stations. I think we have said we are going to have police people in all of the police stations. All of the police stations are going to be manned by police officers with other auxiliary forces. So they are sure that the police stations are going to be protected. All right? We want to ensure that people who get up in the morning, go and vote, and go back home without any trouble in this country. That's why we call this press conference, to abolish it. Having said that, let me thank all of you for attending today's press conference. Thank you.
No, in closing, just a brief announcement for them.
Yes.
For the members of the press, please stay there in some administrative arrangement, and then the speeches, the statements are going to be sent to you electronically. So if you need it electronically, it will also be sent. So thank you very much for attending.
I